Jamie Carragher. Jamie. Do we love Jamie or do we hate Jamie? Well, I don't know how you feel about him, but that's going to be our topic for today's The False Nine TV conversations. So, this is our first installment of The False Nine TV conversations. And this is going to be very unscripted. And what I mean by that is I'm not reading from anything. This is just me having conversation spitball on a topic that I find interesting or that is trending. And I just want to talk about it and give you my opinion on it. And I'm usually pretty positive on this channel. So you don't obviously always have to agree with anything I'm saying. And if you don't, just type in the comments and back it up why. I'm going to be very receptive of your opinion, and I hope we can have some conversations about this. And it's decently an older topic. I think last week it kind of came at least out there quite a bit, which was, of course, Jamie Carragher's comments on Mo Salah not quite winning a Ballon d'Or because, well, he plays in Africa and Egypt to be precise, and he is saying that AFCON is not a major tournament. And initially, okay, I strongly disagreed and thought that was a stupid thing to say. But the more I kind of thought about it and I did some digging, he may have some merit behind what he was saying. He just said it in a very stupid way. Now, not to get too insanely personal here, but my children are going to be dual citizens of an African nation and of my nation. So I'm very partial to AFCON. In fact, I would say it's my second favorite tournament in the entire world to watch, other than the World Cup. And I've said that many times. And if you've been on this channel for a while, I always do AFCON predictions, and I keep up with the teams the best that I can. And yeah, it's I think it's honestly, again, other than the World Cup, I think it's the most entertaining tournament to watch. And I mean, there's also, it seems like every tournament there are some ridiculous things that happen too. But that said, does AFCON hurt Mo Salah? And I'm going to say this. Talent wise, I think Africa is very underrated. And a lot of that has to do, and don't get me wrong, there's a lot of nation poaching going on, per se, where players that could represent nations end up playing for nations that they've become a citizen for or move to at a young age, or et cetera, et cetera. That's not what this video is about, though. It's about the actual competition level of it. So, Jamie, in this particular instance, what I think he was trying to say was, compared to the Euros, there's more talent. And I don't know if I agree about the talent aspect of it, but I do think I agree with the competitive aspect to it. Now, before you think, what the hell are you talking about? Let me explain. So, I did some digging so you all don't have to. And I counted this up, just me. So if I made a mistake somewhere, if I'm off by like one number or something like that, I do apologize. So I went back all the way to the 2002 World Cup, which was the first World Cup that I can remember actually having memories of. And a lot of people watching this, I don't even know if you were born then. And if you were born, that's probably your first memory too, unless you're an old school OG. And in that case, thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. And feel free to tell me how the 80s and 90s and whatever were. So in 2002, 9 European teams made the round of 16. One African team did, and that was Senegal. The next World Cup in 2006, 10 European teams made the round of 16 and one African team, which was Ghana. In 2010, 6 European teams made the round of 16, and bad memories of this one, but the one from Africa was Ghana again. And I say that because they beat the US. In 2014, which was by far, in my opinion, World Cup peak level, which was obviously Brazil, 6 European nations made the round of 16, and 2 African nations did, which was Nigeria and Algeria. In 2018, and this was a big one, 2018, 10 European teams made the round of 16. 0 nations from Africa did. In 2022, which was the most recent one, in the round of 16, we had 7 European nations and 2 African nations. And we all know what Morocco did, taking nothing away from them. And the other one was Senegal, who lost in the round of 16, which I think actually was a disappointment. So when you add all these up since the turn of the millennium, there's been a possible 96 nations make the round of 16. Of those 96, 48 of those have been held by European teams. So that equates to literally 50% of the round of 16 has been held by a European nation. 7 of those have been African nations. And I don't have that percentage. If it's 7 out of 96, I'm assuming it's around roughly 8-9% at most. And the majority of those were repeating, which was Ghana twice and Senegal twice. And just for, I guess, a heads up, I did include Turkey and Russia in for Europe. And I know you can make an argument it should belong in Asia, whatever, but they play in Europe for competition, so we're including them. I know the Russia stuff. Let's not get into that. But for all intents and purposes, I'm including them in the Euros. So that said, I think he has merit to what he says without devaluing the Africa Cup of Nations. The Africa Cup of Nations is culturally amazing. It's a great tournament. It is incredibly entertaining. The competition is just, it's like no other. And if you've never watched it, please do yourself a favor and watch it. Just don't watch Nigeria because you're going to get disappointed. But that said, I don't think he was completely wrong with what he was trying to say. I just think it came off very bad and it upset a lot of people, and rightfully so. But is there truth to it? I think so. But I don't necessarily think that's going to, if he was, let's just say he was handed, and by all means, I think Mo Salah is having the best season out of anybody in the world right now. But let's just say, for example, and by the way, I'm not discrediting AFCON by any means. I mean, look at the nation I'm in. What we play in CONCACAF, which is one of the most piss poor tournaments that there is, and regions that there is. So trust me, I've got no room to speak in terms of competition because we've got 2.5 teams in my region. So that said, if Mo Salah was, let's say Robert Lewandowski, for example, say they're having statistically club wise the same exact season, right? And let's say Lewandowski goes on and brings Poland to past the group stages onto the tournament stage. Say he gets a first round exit or maybe a second round exit, right? And let's say Mo Salah brings Egypt to, I don't know, the round of 4 and loses to, I don't know, let's just say Senegal or Nigeria or something. Are we going to value what Louis did over Salah? because I think you can make the argument you can, because Poland is not in that top tier of European nations in terms of play. Egypt is expected to compete, at least uh, right now anyway, every AFCON. So if there's any kind of disappointment in AFCON, that I would make the argument that Egypt is probably a top four team. And obviously, having one of the best players in the world works in their favor. Yeah, maybe you understand what I'm saying, maybe you don't. But although he's been basically crucified in the media, I think there is merit behind what he was trying to say, even though he said it in a very, very, very Jamie Carragher kind of way. So that said, this is a conversation. Let me know what you think. Do you agree with what he said? Do you strongly disagree with what he said? Have you ever watched AFCON? And before you make an opinion on this, let me know that too. And yeah, so by the way, we got AFCON coming up at the end of the year. So if you haven't been keeping up with it, maybe now is your knock knock to do it. So that said, thank you for coming in to today's conversation. I appreciate it, and can't wait to talk to you guys in the comments. Have a good one. Have a safe week.